What do I like best about Chorlton? Diversity of people, I think, is one of the things. And the fact that it's so close to the Mersey Valley, you can walk for 20 minutes and be effectively out in the countryside.
I love the community vibe at Chorlton. I live literally about 5 minutes drive away, 7 minutes drive away, but I love being in Chorlton. I love the atmosphere of Chorlton. I love the shops. I love the charity shops in Chorlton. I love bumping into people in Chorlton. I just love being in Chorlton. I think there's a really good community vibe in Chorlton.
I love the fact that it's like a really nice community. Like everyone's really friendly, and we're like really sort of good about climate change. Like everyone's like trying to help that and stuff, and it's really nice.
I like the fact that we've got a lot of friends here, diversity in community, quick access into Manchester by the tram, good access out of Manchester through road networks, the variety of shops, eating places and so on. And the community we live in, I think, is a very interesting community as well. I'm interested in music, and there's a lot of musical things going on that I take part in.
I like it because although there have been changes, I think the people of Chorlton kind of adapt to change, and there's been lots of new initiatives to include people. I love things like like this happening, and like the Edge Theatre, and like people setting up knitting groups, and the Pilates that you can go to, and lots of things that if you're interested you can find them.
Chorlton is the area that everyone wants to live in. Disbury is up market, but the tram, everyone comes from Disbury up here because there's a estate as well. So you've got working class people, that word's gone now, but they all mix up here. And that's what everyone wants to live in Chorlton. You've got the tram in Chorlton that makes it busier as well, and the community is lovely. You can walk into Chorlton and you know it's you. And you know people are not from Chorlton, you know they're from Wythenshawe, you know they're from Altrincham, you know they're from Sale, because your face to see over a period of time. And in Chorlton, like who it is, eventually, hiya, how are you, love, how you do, they talk.
This really, the fact that people are up for meeting up and chatting, getting to know each other. I love the community of it. I love how much goes on here. You know, I've lived here 10 years and I feel like I've really come on as a person from everything that I've gained from, you know, all that's on offer here.
I really like the fact that there are lots of trees. We live over near Chorlton Ease, so we look out over trees, and it just, I love that about Chorlton. That's what drew me here.
There's so much small business, there's a lot of variety, quite a lot of diversity in Chorlton. It's a real hubbub in itself. I think it's great to have such great links to the inner city as well, and it's really student friendly, I would say.
Things I want to see changed. I think it'd be nice to have less litter. And I know there's plans for a cycle route into town, but I don't often cycle into town. But more support for cycling. But that's about it, really. More resources, I think, is probably the answer to most of these things, isn't it? Yeah.
I'd like to see less division between Merseybank Estate and the main part of Chorlton. I'd like to see those boundaries sort of blurring much more, because I think there's a huge amount of poverty on Merseybank, and there's some initiatives, but they're very small, and with the cuts, everything's been damaged. I think it will be up to individuals really to join small groups and say, I've got an idea about, but it's not to be impositional, it's not to go along and say this is what you can do, but what would you like, and how can we facilitate that, and how can we get grants for it? And I know there is some of that going on.
I think for me, similar in a way to Yvonne, I think Chorlton's always promoted as, oh, we have lots of independent shops, and to be quite honest, how much coffee can we drink? And I think we don't talk about the large council estates that we have here. Being brought up on a council estate, I think we need to bring those people in and to the fore. They've got as many attributes and ideas as the rest of us. And I would disagree a little bit that council estates are not just about poverty. They're about all shapes and sizes as well. And I think we need to stop pushing, oh, we're so independently minded, etc. We've got all shapes and sizes, and we need to bring that together more. By stop keeping saying we're full of independent shops, we've also got some great shops, Quality Save and charity shops, and it's just the vibrancy of different people that needs to be on the posters. You know, stop promoting coffee. Maybe put a cup of tea on instead. Come and have a brew.
They're trying to cleanse the working class, which that doesn't exist outside of poor or rich. I'm a socialist. And now the apartments are building on the precinct in 2 years. Again, going to be apartments and restaurants. They're trying to cleanse the working class of Chorlton. And the working class made it here. They made Chorlton from the Vikings in Chorlton Green, and they're just changing it in the wrong sort of way.
I think that I'd like to see the council take a more active role in redeveloping the centre of Chorlton, or maybe a more dynamic role rather than active. And I would also like to see planning regulations and so on reinforced, so that some of the developments around here have gone ahead despite not having planning permission. Some of the ones in the centre, for instance, the developments in the post office. So I think the council have statutory powers to do something about that, and I think they should take a more active role in doing that kind of thing. And I think the redevelopment of the centre of Chorlton is a huge project, obviously, but I'd like that to be done in a sensitive way, and also to include social housing, so that Chorlton doesn't just become an enclave for people who can afford to live here. Through the conventional partnership between the council and local people, I suppose, local organisations, and particularly for local councils, I think, to take forward the findings from those consultations with local people, and to keep a balanced view, really, to represent all parts of the community.
I would like to see more community events like this, because I think they're really fun and everyone joins in, and it sort of makes people get out more. And also, I love having, when people have street parties, I think they feel like sort of just great, because you get to know all the people around you and sort of make friends with everyone around you, and it's just a really nice sort of thing to be able to do, just to sort of roam around on the street. I think sort of it's really up to the council, I think, to make them sort of see a different aspect of them, because they might think, oh, what if someone, like, I don't know, just decides to ignore the street closed sign and just ram to it. But like, I don't think anyone in the right mind would do that, because I think that would be silly. And I think it's just, they need to see that it's actually a really good thing, and like it's positive, and it like helps people get out and have a nice time.
I would like to see maybe like a permanent market. So it's not just the artisan market that they have on a monthly basis or during the summer months, like a permanent market where, you know, there are stalls, and then it gives people the opportunity, those who want to set their own business, like myself, to have a place where we can set up and trade permanently right through the year. Politicians. Funding. I mean, there are people that I know who would love to set up a business and they'd love to be in somewhere like Chorlton, but it's having the funding and having the support and the backing of the people in Chorlton and local vicinities who will come and patronise us and help to grow us, really, yeah.
I think that we could build on what's already here and make more interconnectedness between all the things that happen. You know, like today, for example, I met up with a few people via the Connected Chorlton group that started, and I spoke to some people at the Chorlton Arts Festival, and it's like everything overlaps, you know, and this is a brilliant opportunity for us to connect one-to-one, but like more embedded connections between those groups, and I'd love this once a month at least. It's been fantastic. Maybe not when it's middle of the winter, but that might work, yeah. I suppose funding comes into it, creating spaces and forums for people to share their ideas. It's got to be grassroots, so you know what people want as community users. And other than that, I don't really know.
I'd like Chorlton to be friendlier and kinder. Sometimes it feels a little bit exclusive, like there are groups that are sort of, there's a lot going on in Chorlton, but it feels as though it caters for some people and not others. So I think there's a danger of complacency and thinking, okay, there's loads happening in Chorlton, but there's a lot of people who are overlooked and who aren't included. And as someone who's had personal lived experience of feeling like an outsider, of feeling not included, and feeling very isolated, to the point of being reclusive, I really relate to what that experience is like. I mean, like I know it. And so I'd like more people who are in that position to feel like we're reaching out to them. So I know what it's like to not have the agency to do it for myself and to need encouragement, to be invited, to actually, have someone knock on the door and say, how are you doing? Is there anything to ask me what I would need or what I would like? I think one of the ways is to use the public space to communicate with people, and I think particularly places like the pharmacy or the doctors or the library are really good places to get a message of invitation, of welcome, of come and join us, or not join us because that implies that there's something to join, but it's like, we'd like to meet you, or would you like to meet us? So something really open. And I don't believe that people need to be given a voice. People already have a voice. It's about hearing them. So any way that we can hear other people, particularly those who we don't usually hear from, would be great.
I think affordable housing is definitely an issue in Chorlton. I feel like, more broadly speaking, it's an issue in Manchester. But also I think I would like to really see more of a overt presence of environmental campaigners and stuff like that. I mean, Chorlton is a very green area and a very, very environmentally friendly hub, but maybe some more demonstrations or protests, or again overt demonstrations of that would be really good for Manchester. I mean, on the grounds of like affordable housing and issues like that, I think it would definitely be good for Withington generally to petition the city council and the mayor to guarantee more affordable housing stock amongst what they build. So, for example, but there are local examples. So, the apartments that have recently been let near the Unicorn, I don't know what guarantee there is that they're going to be affordable council-led spaces, or whether they're just going to be private rented housing in a really, really desirable area. It's opposite the Unicorn, which practically defines Chorlton. So that would be really good, some sort of guarantee or solid, firm promise. In terms of the environmentalism stuff, maybe just more encouragement of community groups to look at things that way. I know, obviously, Labour and political parties at the minute in Manchester have kind of all given a nod to environmentalism, but a way to stop the Greens pushing forward their issues predominantly would be to kind of include them a little bit more in the discussion. And that might happen on a community level here, and that might happen on a national level, obviously.